What do you enjoy most about your job?
I enjoy most of my current job or the one I'm about to take?
The one you're about to take.
Current?
Yeah, current.
Okay, all right. So right now I'm president at Fresno State, but I'll be chancellor of the CSU in January. And the reason why I decided to be a candidate for that job is because of the impact I think I can make as a leader there. We serve a really diverse group of students. A majority are first in their families to college, and also many students of color, immigrants, and it really reflects the broad diversity of California. So that's why I want to be chancellor.
What's your favorite sports team?
Favorite sports team? I'd say at the professional level, I'd say the Dodgers, LA Dodgers, and I'll be closer to them when I get down to be the chancellor. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I love the Dodgers as well.
Who's
Um,
your favorite player, Matteo?
right now probably Cody Bellinger. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, he's good.
so where do you live, and do you have to move in order to be the chancellor of the entire Cal State system?
Yes. Right now, I live in Fresno for one more month. Very fortunate. The president of Fresno State is required to live in a house. It's called University House, and it's almost a 7,000 square foot, really nice old home. And when I first moved into it, I felt like I was moving into, Disneyland. I've gotten used to it now. But as chancellor, there isn't a house, so I'll get to pick where we're going to live. And for at least the first 6 months to a year, we found a great place right on the beach, and it'll enable us to take lots of beach walks. And it's only about 10 minutes from my office.
Hmm. So what's your favorite hobby?
Favorite hobby? I would say I have a lot of different hobbies, but I love to swim, especially in the ocean. And I love to snorkel and be out just in the water swimming around. That's my favorite thing to do when I'm on vacation, is to go either to Santa Barbara or to Hawaii and just enjoy the water and seeing the fish and the sea turtles. So that's probably my favorite thing to do. But I love to read. I'm reading President Obama's new book, Promised Land, right now, and I spend a lot of time with my family. I have a little guy who's almost 10 years old, so he keeps me busy. We play a lot of football and soccer and take long walks. So I have a lot of different interests.
So how did it feel to become the first Mexican American chancellor and California native of one of the largest public universities?
Well, it's very meaningful, Matteo. I'm also the first native Californian to be chancellor. It's hard to believe that the California State University has not been led by a Californian. But that was the case here in my current job. There had never been a Californian in this job. So I'm very excited about this opportunity. I know how challenging it's going to be, um, but I also think about my family and picture on this side, and I got a gold frame. That's my great grandfather who came here about 100 years ago to work on the railroad, and brought my grandfather, who's in another picture up there, who helped to raise me. I'm the son of a single mother, and my grandfather was a dreamer of his time. And to think that, just 100 years ago, they were living in tents along the railroad, and now, his grandson gets to be the chancellor of the largest public university in the country. That's a pretty good thing. He'd be really happy if he was here right now.
All right, Jesus, the next
All
question.
right. So sixth question. What do you find the most challenging about your job?
Both challenging.
Yeah.
Well, it's very meaningful. So I love what I do, and that's, when I talk to young people like you, the key is to find a pathway that you love, that where it doesn't feel like work. And so even though I love what I do, the biggest challenge that I face is that as the president of a university or the leader of any organization, you basically are the one that is accountable for everything. So, my job is to make sure I hire really good vice presidents and I coach them and hold them accountable. And I try to make sure I get enough resources from the government and from the private sector. But I'd say the most difficult thing and challenging thing is to make good decisions. And most of the biggest decisions that I have to make, just like any head of an organization, some decisions are only made by the leader because they're contested in some way, debated. And so in the end, they come to me. And what I try to do when I'm in that situation, and I am in it quite often, is to let the mission and the values of my organization, in this case, Fresno State, guide me. So our mission is to boldly educate and empower students for success. And our values are diversity, discovery, and distinction. And so I always let those guide me. If I'm trying to figure out the best course, I think about that. And that's the way university presidents are supposed to think, is what's best for the university, and not just for today and tomorrow, but for the next 50, 100 years. And this university is, its 110th year. So I need to think like the other 7 presidents about the long term. And sometimes that means I have to make difficult decisions that might be uncomfortable in the short term, but are best for the long term. So that's probably the biggest challenge, Jesus.
Okay. Next question. What was your favorite food or restaurant in Palo Alto when you went to Stanford?
There were some really good ones. I don't know if it's still there, but there was a place called Red Pepper. It was a Mexican restaurant near my house. I lived on Waverly, and I remember Red Pepper was near El Camino. Yeah, I'm a little older than you guys, so I remember when there was that place, and there was a compadres there on El Camino Real, and I used to enjoy going there. And then when I was on campus, I think it's closed now, but there used to be this awesome Thai restaurant that was only open for lunchtime, and it was very authentic, and you could eat outside on the grounds. So I remember those 2 places in particular.
Next question.
What are your favorite Mexican restaurants, just so I know for my next visit?
Oh, I don't have one.
You don't? Oh,
No.
how about you, Matteo?
I have a favorite Mexican restaurant, but it's over in Los Altos. It's Los Altos Taqueria. It's really good.
Hey, I'll have to look for that. Los Altos Taqueria. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What is your message to Mexican Americans and Latino students on pursuing their dreams?
I appreciate that, Jesus. My message is what I say to my students here is to be bold and dream big, and look for a pathway that aligns with your values and that makes you really happy. And each of us has special gifts, and the key is to unleash those gifts. And my own personal philosophy is that everybody in every house has talent. And as an educator, my job is to help unleash that talent, just like you guys are showing your talent at Gun High School, and then we'll go off to do all kinds of great things. I'm very proud to be Mexican American, and we have such talent in our community, and I think we've been held back by different issues around income and education and access to health care, climate issues, environmental issues. So my goal as the chancellor of the CSU is to try to lift everybody up, create the conditions where every student can succeed and become part of the next generation of leaders for our state and country and the world. And You know, CSU has 500,000 students and 3.8 million alumni. So it's a chance to make a very positive difference for Mexican American, other Latinx students, and students from all different backgrounds. And that's why I love to serve as president now. And I'm looking forward to being the next chancellor of the CSU.
Alright. Last question, Dr. Castro. What is something you miss about living in Palo Alto or Stanford?
Oh, I miss quite a few things. You know, I grew up here in the San Joaquin Valley. So the thing I love about being here is I have my family near me. The thing I loved about Palo Alto was going to Stanford. And that was one of my dreams as a kid. There was only one guy in my town that I knew had gone to Stanford. So when I had the chance to go there to get my doctorate, it was a really proud moment for my family. And just being able to spend time on that campus walking around, I still enjoy doing that because I sit on one of the advisory boards for Stanford in the Graduate School of Education. So I get there, at least before COVID, I was getting there a couple times a year. And I just love the grounds at Stanford and hanging out in the library and going to the bookstore. And yeah, those are some of my best memories of being on campus there at Stanford.
Well, thank you, Dr. Castro, for your time today. We are honored to speak with you, and we hope that your first year as chancellor of the CSU system goes well.
Thank you, Matteo, and thank you, Jesus.